Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is SUKKAH Daf Tesvav. We begin right on top at the Mishnah. Tikra she'in aleh ma'aziva. Yesterday we had a discussion between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda regarding using wide boards, wide planks, as SUKKAH. Rabbi Meir says you can't use them. Gzeras tikra. Because although, in this case, these boards are kosher, they grow from the ground, they're not a kli that is makabel tumah, it's just raw material. And you're placing them on your sukkah as a shade provider, l'shem tzel. So technically you're okay, but Gzeras tikra tells you avoid using these boards, because since they closely resemble roofing boards, construction material, if we allow this to be used as schach, he may confuse things, and he may actually sit in his house under his boards to be Mekayim mitzvah sukkah. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, it's pretty clear, it's pretty obvious. He's building a sukkah. He won't confuse the sukkah with his house. Don't worry about using wide planks for your sukkah. Today the Mishnah will add another dimension. What about actually sitting under your tikra, in your home? The Mishnah will tell us. At times, that's also possible, provided he adapts it, he modifies it for sukkah use. So once again, says the Mishnah, tikra, you have a roof, a typical house roof, consisting of boards with no cement. This time he has no reinforcement, no tar, no cement. She'ein aleh ma'aziva. Just boards without ma'aziva, without cement, which makes it pretty easy to adapt for sukkah use. Says Rashi on top, tikra she'ein aleh ma'aziva. Stam tikra, your typical roof, consists of boards at least 4 tefachim wide. So we have the boards, but no ma'aziva, which is ritzpas tit, a cement floor. V'doimele b'mikra, we find a similar term in the pasuk with Sefer Ezra. Vayaz v'Yerushalayim ad chayma, they reinforced the wall around Yerushalayim. So vayazu means mal'ua mitocha afar, they filled it with earth, lahachzik ha'chayma, to reinforce and support the wall. So we have a ceiling without reinforcement, just boards. So there are two potential concerns here. Number one, tasav le'mina asur. The roof has already been built to serve as a bias, not for a sukkah. So even though perhaps he's going to redesignate it mentally, but it's there, it's done. Shaloi l'shem tzel. So he has to address that. He has to somehow revamp it, reconstruct his roof, l'shem tzel. Number two, the fact that we're dealing with 4 tefach wide boards, that in itself perhaps presents a concern, because perhaps that material is not suitable for sukkah use. So how do we address both these potential concerns? So we have machlekes. Rabbi Yehuda, he says there's a machlekes between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. So Rabbi Yehuda is presenting it as a machlekes between Beis Shammai, who say as follows: Beis Shammai oimrim mefakpek. You have to go up to your roof, loosen those boards, take out the nails, and be mefakpek. Shake them around. A slight shuffle. This way you're redoing it. You're modifying it for the sake of sale. So although it's a very insignificant act, that is sufficient to address the concern of tasa v'le'mina asur. He's redoing it. It's now a man-made roof for the sake of sale sukkah. That's number one. And in addition, v'noitel achas b'bentayim. He has to remove every other plank and substitute it with schach. So both these things have to be done. It appears that according to Beis Shammai, we have to address two concerns. You have to redo the roof for the sake of sale. That's the mepakpek. And you have to go ahead and add some schach, replace some boards with schach, to perhaps address the Gzeras tikra aspect. So it takes on new form and doesn't resemble a typical house roof. The Gemara will go into this in great detail, but it would appear that if Beis Shammai need both processes applied, they're addressing two separate concerns. Ubeis Hillel, don't worry about the Gzeras tikra. You can use 4 tefach wide boards. There's no Gzeras tikra. But of course, there's a problem of Tasa v'leimena asi. These boards were positioned for the sake of a house, not for the sake of sukkah. So how do you address that? You have two options. Any one that you apply is okay. Either you shake the boards up and down, and by doing so you're remaking it, rebuilding it, so to speak. And it becomes tasa. Or alternatively, you can go ahead and replace every other board with SUKKAH, and this as well will address the tasa v'leimena asi concern. So although you didn't really do anything to the boards that you left in place, you just replaced every other one, but you sort of redid the entire roof. It took on a new form, a new tzura. It's redone, renovated, and it was done l'shem tzel, l'shem sukkah. There's no longer a concern of tasa v'leimena asi. So this is Rabbi Yehuda speaking. Beis Shammai maintain both processes have to be applied, shake them and replace every other one. According to Beis Hillel, one or the other. Rabbi Meir, he disagrees with Rabbi Yehuda. He says there's only one method. Noitel achas b'bentayim ve'enim b'pakpik. You have to replace every other board. Shaking is insufficient. Says the Gemara, let's try to understand the Mishnah. So let's start from Rabbi Yehuda. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's machlokes Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai say both methods. According to Beis Hillel, either one is sufficient. Bishlam and Beis Hillel, says the Gemara, Beis Hillel's shita, we understand. Tamayu mishem tasa v'leimena asi. Have to redo the roof, which was built as a house roof. So you have to redo it for the sake of sukkah. So since we're addressing tasa v'leimena asi, anything you do is sufficient. If he gives them a shake, that's called a sufficient masa. Alternatively, if he replaces every other one, that is also a sufficient masa which affects the entire roof. And it's been redone, reconstructed, so to speak, for the sake of sukkah use. So that's understood. Either one is okay. Ela Beis Shammai, my tamaya. But how do we understand Beis Shammai? Who seem to require both. Shake every board and replace every other one. If we're trying to alleviate the tasa v'leimena asi concern, then either method works. Why do you need to do both? Either you shake every board, by doing so you're redoing it, refreshing it, l'shem tzel. Some of Fri Jun learn that you have to actually remove the nails and shake. So it's a significant masa. Perhaps there's another concern. Aside from tasa v'leimena asi, which requires a refreshing, the boards themselves, the boards on their own, are unsuitable material because Gzeras Tikra tells us don't use 4 tefach wide boards. That in itself poses another concern. Says the Gemara, even so, you don't have to do both things. You don't have to shake and replace. Skip the shaking, skip the mafakbek, go straight to the second method. If Beis Shammai has an additional concern over Beis Hillel's concern, you see, everybody agrees that there's a concern of tasa v'leimena asi. That's pashut. There's no machlekes. But perhaps Beis Shammai have an additional concern. Gzeras Tikra, which Beis Hillel don't subscribe to. Right? Because remember, this is Rabbi Yehuda speaking. He's presenting this machlokes Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, and he himself holds there's no Gzeras Tikra. So he's following Beis Hillel. Lahalacha, halacha follows Beis Hillel. Whereas Beis Shammai perhaps hold of Gzeras Tikra. And that's why they require something else, something different than Beis Hillel. Even so, says the Gemara, you don't have to apply both methods. You can simply modify that roof by replacing every other one with SUKKAH. The Gemara figures it's going to address Gzeras Tikra as well. You know why? Let's go down the line. Tasa v'leimena asi is addressed simply by reconstructing that roof and turning it into a sukkah roof. It's taking on a new form. So even by replacing every other one and leaving the other ones untouched, you've already made your sukkah roof its tasa. And even regarding Gzeras Tikra, the Gemara maintains by demolishing part of that roof and replacing it with SUKKAH kosher, it no longer appears like a house roof, and there's no gzeras tikra. It's pretty obvious and evident. Look, he took apart his roof. He modified, he reconstructed it. So not only can you sit beneath the SUKKAH kosher that was not placed there, you can sit beneath the entire roof. Because this modification benefits the entire roof. There's no concern of gzeras tikra, of having it confused with a house roof. So why do we need both methods? Says the Gemara. If you're not happy with being mafakbek, because tassil and asa is only one concern, you have to also address gzeras tikra, where the material is unsuitable. Just replacing the other one with SUKKAH kosher, that in itself is machshir the entire roof. It no longer resembles a house roof. It sets it apart from a house roof. Says the Gemara, you're right. In addition to tassil and asay, for which pickbook would be sufficient, we have gzeras tikra as well. And all Beis Shammai are saying as follows: you don't need both methods. One modification is sufficient. But which one? You have to know which one. Even if he goes and shakes them, that's not enough. Because that might address tassil and asay. Slight shake, that's like the na'anua we had the other day with the tree which was detached after having already been placed on your sukkah. Na'anua is considered a masa. That addresses tassil and asay. It's been redone, refreshed for sukkah use. But in addition to that, we have the gzeras tikra concern, which doesn't allow us to use any boards which might resemble roofing boards. Therefore, say Beis Shammai, you have to also replace every other one, which sort of redoes, refreshes, rebuilds the entire roof and makes it look different than a house roof. If he replaces every other board with SUKKAH, that's okay, because now he has addressed both concerns. Killed two birds with one stone. It was an asiyah for the sake of tzel, and it no longer looks like a house roof. So tassil and asay and gzeras tikra were both addressed by replacing every other board. So if he does that, then it's okay. But otherwise, he still has gzeras tikra in effect. That's all they meant. You must make sure to do the right method, to replace every other one. So according to Beis Shammai, we have two concerns. Tassil and asay, for which pickbook would be sufficient, but in addition we have gzeras tikra. These boards resemble roofing material. Therefore, they maintain the only method that's effective is replacement. Noitel achas mentayim, which addresses both concerns, refreshes the roof, reconstructs the roof to look as a sukkah roof. Whereas Beis Hillel are only concerned with tassil and asay. They don't hold of gzeras tikra. Remember, this is Rabbi Yehuda speaking, and he follows Beis Hillel. So he presents Beis Hillel as holding this shita, that there's no gzeras tikra. Therefore, according to Beis Hillel, all we need to address is tassil and asay. And for that, either method that you pick is fine. Either give them a shake, which redoes it, makes it tasa, or replace either one, which is also effective to remove the tassil and asay concern. But even shaking is enough, because you can use these boards, even though they're 4 tefach wide boards. We see it's a sukkah. There's no gzeras tikra. Okay, that explains the machlokes Beis Shammai, who require replacement, and Beis Hillel who say either method is fine. If that's the pshat, let's proceed. Rabbi Meir Omer, noitel achas mi ben time, avalo yifakvik. The only effective method is replacement of every other board. Rabbi Meir, Haini Beis Shammai. Isn't he repeating Beis Shammai's shita? What's the point? Hachik Amar. Indeed, this is what he meant to say. You, Rabbi Yehuda, maintain that there's a machlekes between Beis Shammai who hold of gzeras tikra and Beis Hillel who don't, and of course the halacha follows Beis Hillel. In which case you concluded that there was no gzeras tikra. No, I disagree. Lo nechlaku Beis Shammai u Beis Hillel b'davar zeh. There was never a machlekes between the two on this topic. Meaning, there is Gzeras Tikra, even according to Beis Hillel. And therefore, I maintain, the only effective method, according to all Shittas, is replacement, which addresses A, Tasav Leminasi, because you've reconstructed that roof, L'Shem Tzel, and B, once you've inserted lots of SUKKAH there, it appears like a sukkah roof, and it very much does not resemble a house roof. This addresses Gzeras Tikra as well. Is that the Pshat in the Mishnah? Maika Mashmon. So what's the point of this Mishnah? This Mishnah is now basically a repetition of the previous Mishnah. Once again, we have Rabbi Yehuda Ramir discussing Gzeras Tikra. It's an exact replica of the previous Mishnah. Maika Mashmon, the Rameh is like Gzeras Tikra. Rameh holds of Gzeras Tikra. Rabbi Yehuda less like Gzeras Tikra. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees with Gzeras Tikra. They've already discussed this previously. This non, we had an earlier Mishnah, on Daf Yudalad. Mesachchen ben Asarin, to Rabbi Yehuda. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you can use boards. Because it's pretty clear that it's for sukkah use. He won't come to sit under his regular house roof. For Rabbi Meir Oyser, no, you can't use wide planks, which would resemble roofing material. Because it might lead to a person sitting in his house. So what's the point of repeating the same machlekes? Therefore, says the Gemara, let's reinterpret yesterday's Mishnah. It's not a discussion of Gzeras Tikra. Rather, Amar Rab Chiya Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Reisha, the previous Mishnah, is discussing a different topic. Ben Asarim Mishupin Askinan. We're speaking about small boards, narrow boards, not 4 tefach boards, but they're Mishupin. They've been sanded down, smoothed out, polished. Ben Asarim Mishupin Askinan. And they appear perhaps like furniture material. The potential concern there is that if you use these, you might actually use furniture. Kalim, amakabel tumah, pasal v'schach. And that's the topic of discussion yesterday. Can we use nisarim mishupin, which appear like furniture material? Rabbi Yehuda says, don't worry about it. Rabbi Yehuda says, you can't. That's one discussion. And today, we have another discussion regarding using 4 tefach wide planks, unpolished, unsanded, which appear like roofing boards. And according to our mayor, you can't because he might end up sitting in his house. According to Rabbi Yehuda, no concern. So we're speaking about 2 separate topics here. It's not a repetition. Says the Gemara, the Rabbi Yehuda Amar, but according to him, the Amar we had this the other day. We have these wooden arrow handles. So if they're the male type, they protrude into the tip, so they're not considered a clay kibble. You can use these wooden handles. So bechitzin is charim ksheira. Ben a keva, but if they're receptacle, if they're a clay kibble, psula. So one is good, one is not. We don't see that there's a concern. If we allow using the scharim, he might actually use the nekevas, which are kalim. Hachanam here as well. Why would we have a gzera and disallow using these smoothed out boards on account of perhaps using kalim? It doesn't seem that the Gemara is concerned that one might lead to the other. So it's improbable that the Tanoim will be having a discussion regarding this type of gzera. Ella al Karchach says the Gemara, you're right. Let's go back. Reisha pligi bezeres tikra. The previous Mishnah is a machlekes regarding wide boards, which may be confused with construction material and may lead him to sit in his house. Rameh says there's a concern. Rabbi Yehuda says there is not. Likewise, our Mishnah is addressing the same concern. Gzeras tikra, yes or no? If so, why the repetition? Why replicate the same machlekes? Says the more you're right. It's not a new machlekes. It's just a conclusion to their discussion. Say for Rabbi Yehuda the Ka'amar le Rameir. In our Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda is simply addressing Rameir. And he says like this: Amai ka'asris b'nesara mishum gzeras tikra. Why is it that you don't allow using boards because of gzeras tikra? Hi svara lebeis shammai hud islahu. You know who holds of this svara, this concern? It's Beis Shammai, only Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel like Gazri, not Beis Hillel. I'm going to follow Beis Hillel. V'amar Rabbi Meir. The Rabbi Meir responds at the end of our Mishnah, Lo nechelku Beis Shammai Beis Hillel b'davar zeh. Actually not. The way I know it, all agree that Xeris Tikra is a concern. And therefore I paskin that wide boards are asur because of Xeris Tikra. So indeed, both Mishnahs are just a continuous discussion. So the discussion initiated in the first Mishnah, and here we have a conclusion. Rabbi the response to Rabbi Meir, why are you concerned about Xeris Tikra? That's Beis Shammai, not Beis Hillel. Right? That's why Beis Shammai say you have to replace every other board, because not only do you have to address Ta'asav Lemin Asif because it's a house roof, you have to actually reconstruct that roof so it doesn't appear like a house because of Xeris Tikra. Beis Hillel say no. You can replace if you choose to. We could just go ahead and simply shake the boards and redo it l'shem tzel. It takes away the Ta'asav Lemin Asif. Just leave them in place because wide boards are acceptable. So you see, says Rabbi Yehuda, you see, Beis Hillel don't hold Xeris Tikra. And Rabbi Meir responds, no. The only suitable method is replacing every other one, because, according to my version of events, even Beis Hillel subscribed to Xeris Tikra. And that's why I follow that shita as well. Says the Gemara, Hanichal Rav. This whole pshat in the Mishnah works according to Rav. See, Rav learned that there is a fundamental machlekes between Rabbi Meir, who says 4 tefach wide boards resemble roofing material and are puzzle for sukkah. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda says it's pretty evident this is for the sake of sukkah, sake of tzel. Don't worry about it looking like a house. So according to Rav, Rabbi Meir holds of Xeris Tikra. According to Rabbi Yehuda, there is no Xeris Tikra. So this Mishnah and the pshat that we apply to the Mishnah works very well according to Rav. We're speaking about your typical standard roof, which Rashi explained would consist of 4 tefach wide boards. Rabbi Yehuda says, no concern. Rabbi Meir says, yes concern. So Bishlam Hanichal Rav Damar Machlekes B'Yesh Ben Arba. According to Rav, who maintains that the discussion between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda pertains to 4 tefach wide boards. The Rabbi Meir is like Xeris Tikra. He holds of Xeris Tikra. Don't use them. Rabbi Yehuda less like Xeris Tikra. He doesn't hold of Xeris Tikra. So that pshat works very well with our Mishnah. Elul is Shmuel, but according to Shmuel's approach, which was a slightly different approach, he maintained that according to all, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, there is Xeris Tikra if it's a 4 tefach wide board. The question was only, to what extent are we concerned? Do we apply Xeris Tikra to even a board which is less than 4 tefach? Rabbi Meir says yes, Rabbi says no. But in concept, all agree that a board which resembles your typical roofing board is a problem. So in our case, a tikra she'enei lo maziva, which consists of 4 tefach wide boards, how can you say that according to Rabbi Yehuda it's okay? The disagreement between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda pertains only to boards which are less than 4 tefach wide, which are not typically used as construction material. But if they're 4 tefach wide boards, which closely resemble roofing boards, all agree, even Rabbi Yehuda agrees that it's possible, safe of my pligi. How do you understand the machlekes in our Mishnah, which is speaking about those very boards? Even Rabbi Yehuda would agree that it's not to be used. Says the Gemara, apparently, we have to reinterpret our Mishnah. All perhaps would agree that initially you can't use 4 tefach wide boards for your sukkah. Xeris Tikra. So why is this different? Very different, because you have a pre-existing roof here and you're demolishing it. You're being mevatel that tikra, which makes it apparent, makes it obvious that you are mindful of the fact that you're not meant to sit in your bias and sukkahs. Why then would you be breaking up your roof? So this case is very different than the previous Mishnah. The discussion between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda in this case is where he's being mavatal his tikra, he's breaking apart his roof. Question is, to what extent does he have to break it apart to remove the gzeras tikra concern? Mar savar batla bahachi. Rabbi Yehuda maintains that we take a lenient view, because once he's breaking apart his roof, it's pretty obvious that he knows what he's doing. He's trying to readapt it for sukkah use. Therefore, Rabbi Yehuda says, although Beis Shammai require replacement, taking out every other plank and replacing it with SUKKAH, which really is a serious reconstruction process, Beis Hillel maintain no, mefakpek is enough. Just shaking them up is enough, because by doing so he's indicating that he's mindful of the fact they're not meant to use a house for sukkah use. So merely shaking it up addresses everything. It addresses tasav le'mina asay, because he's redoing it for tzel. It addresses gzeras tikra, because there's no longer concern that he's going to sit in his house. We see that he's redoing his roof for sukkah use. That's Rabbi Yehuda. What is Rabbi Meir, who concludes the Mishnah with the words noitel achas mi ben time inim epakpek? He holds, even in this case, when he's being mavatal, he's actively breaking apart his roof for sukkah use. Being mefakpek is not enough. You have to actually do something tangible. Umar savabachi lebatal. Simply shuffling, simply shaking is not enough. You have to go ahead and replace every other one with SUKKAH, which indeed is a proper reconstruction process, in which case this roof no longer resembles your typical house roof. And now we've addressed both concerns. Tasav le'mina asay, because it's redone for the sake of tzel. Number two, he's not going to sit in the house any longer. If you have to go through his whole trouble to redo the roof for the sake of sukkah, it's pretty clear. You're not meant to sit under the typical standard house roof. Let's go down to Rashi. At the wide line, so it will be the third wide line. Bibitule tikra, kalaymar, says Rashi. Let me explain to you the Gemara. Malach Shmuel, la'olam sheyesh bar nabba, v'lo yhaisa kan tikra meitchila. Shmuel says like this: if we have 4 tefach wide boards, and he's building his sukkah anew, there was no pre-existing roof here. V'achshavu bala sacher bula shem sukkah. And of course there's a concern. Afil Rabbi Yehuda pasel, tegazrina misham tikra. Even Rabbi Yehuda would agree, you can't use wide boards, which might lead him to sit under his house, under those very same type of boards. What's the difference between an old roof and a new roof? However, in this case, he is reconstructing his roof. There's a tikra with a pre-existing ceiling. And he's coming to modify it. He's pretty much displaying his mindfulness. He knows you can't sit under a house. So now, perhaps we have room to be lenient. Now I have a question, whether or not we still have a concern. Rabbi Yehuda Savar, bitule tikra Beis Shammai. According to Beis Shammai, we're machmer, yeah. Tzarich litom ben time. You have to go replace every other one. Otherwise, there is gzeras tikra. That's Beis Shammai. The avak of the mechiach shabaki b'tas le'min asi, even though it's pretty clear that he understands what he's doing. Gazriba is still concerned. Loy plug. We apply a gzera all across the board, without any exceptions. That's Beis Shammai. Ubisila savri, no. This is different than initiating your sukkah building process with wide boards, because here he's demolishing a pre-existing ceiling. It's pretty clear that he knows what he's doing. Given the batla, there's no longer room for gzera. So according to Beis Hillel, just give them a shake, which is a slight refreshing process. It's a tasel l'shem sukkah, and that's it. Don't worry about the wide planks. Rameh takes the stringent approach. All along the sugi we see Rameh is more machram, gzeras tikra, more machram than Rabbi Yehuda. Therefore, he maintains even when you be mevatel a pre-existing roof, we still have the same concern. So just as you have to address tasav min asli by revamping, refreshing, you have to actually replace some planks so that it doesn't even appear doesn't closely resemble your typical house roof, and that alleviates Gzeras Tikra. So let's summarize our sukkah. Mishnah tells us that a tikra, she'ena leo ma'asiva, which Rashi explains, is speaking about a roof that consists of planks at least 4 tefachim wide. We have two shittas in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda presents it as a machlokes between Beis Shammai, who maintain that the only solution is noitel achas min tayim, replace every other plank with tzchach. According to Beis Hillel, either method is effective. Either give them a shake, or replace every other one with tzchach. According to Rabbi Meir, there's no machlokes. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel both agree you have to go replace every other one with tzchach. Now, how do we understand the background? What's the pshat in all these options? We have Rav's approach and Shmuel's approach. Let's start with Rav. Rav learns that there is a fundamental machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir regarding Gzeras Tikra. So you have 4 tefach wide boards. According to Rabbi Yehuda, there's no Gzeras Tikra. According to Rabbi Meir, there is a Gzeras Tikra. So how do you go about fixing up this roof? Because all agree there is a very basic concern of Tassil Lim and Asid, because it so happens that this roof is a pre-existing roof built for household use, not for sukkah use. So Rabbi Yehuda presents it as a machlokes between Rabbi Shammai and Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai maintains there are 2 issues to address: Tassil Lim and Asid, as well as Gzeras Tikra. That's Shittas Beis Shammai, and therefore they maintain the only effective solution is Noitel Achas Men Tayim, which accomplishes both things simultaneously. It addresses Tassil Lim and Asid because now he's refreshed his roof l'shem tzel. Number 2, since he's replaced every other board with real schach, it no longer resembles a house roof, and Gzeras Tikra doesn't apply. Beis Hillel aren't concerned with Gzeras Tikra. The only thing you have to address is Tassil Lim and Asid, and by employing any one of these 2 methods, you've addressed that concern. Either you shake all the boards up, or you replace every other one with schach. Rabbi Meir responds by saying, all agree Gzeras Tikra is a very real concern. And therefore the only effective method is Noitel Achas Men Tayim, which addresses both concerns at once. Tassil Lim and Asid, by refreshing that roof, and Gzeras Tikra, by having a roof which really doesn't resemble a typical house roof. So that's Rav's approach. Again, Rav learns there is a basic machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir regarding whether or not what goes is Gzeras Tikra. Rabbi Yehuda says no, and indeed he follows Beis Hillel, who have no such concern. Rabbi Meir says yes, all agree Gzeras Tikra is a concern. Then we have Shmuel's approach. Shmuel holds that according to all shittas, there is Gzeras Tikra. You can't use 4 tefach wide boards, so that can't really be the topic of conversation here. The point is that here it's different than your standard Gzeras Tikra, because here he isn't really initiating, he isn't really starting anew with boards on a sukkah. Here he has a pre-existing ceiling which he's breaking apart for sukkah use. Bittul Tikra. That's a step down. That has less concern because it's pretty clear he's being mechiach, as Rashi says, that he knows the halacha. He's baki with Tassil Lim and Asid. So perhaps there's room to be makel here, and that's the topic of discussion in our Mishnah. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, we are mu'mekel. So according to Beis Shammai, we're machmer. We say both concerns apply. Tassil Lim and Asid and Gzeras Tikra, even when it's being mevatel the Tikra. And therefore, you have to the only way to approach it is by being noitel achas men tayim, which addresses both concerns. He redid the ceiling, and he redid it in a way which doesn't resemble a typical Tikra. Beis Hillel maintain, in this case where he's being mevatel at Tikra, forget about Gzeras Tikra. It's pretty clear that he's not going to sit in his house. He's not going to confuse things. Look what he's doing to be machshir his Tikra. The only one issue remaining is Tassil Lim and Asid, because practically this roof was a pre-constructed roof, a house roof. So in order to refresh it and readapt it for sukkah use, you can employ any one of 2 methods. Either replace every other one, even mefakpik, even giving it a shake is enough. Rabbi Meir maintains There is no machlokes between Risham and Mesil. All agree, even in the case of Bitulei Tikra. Both concerns apply. The basic concern of Tasar Lebanasi, an additional concern of Xeris Tikra, and therefore, the only solution is Noitel Achas Mentayim, by replacing every other plank with real Kasher Schach. So by doing so, you refresh your roof L'Shem Tzel. And number two, it no longer appears like a typical roof, and there's no Xeris Tikra. Continues the Mishnah, Hamakara. Hamakara is like Kaira. We have beams across our ceiling to hold up the material above it. So Hamakara Sukkase b'Shvudin. He took shvudin, rods, metal rods, and he laid them across his sukkah as schach. And of course, rods are not kosher for schach. It's mekabel tumah. Another example is Baruches Hamita. He took the long posts from the side of his bed and used it as schach. And again, it's a kli, it's mekabel tumah. It's not kosher. If the revach, the space between the rods, between the posts, the gap equals the actual size of the post itself. Say the post is 2 tfachim wide, and likewise the gap between the two posts. And of course he filled it with schach kasher, so now it's 50-50 kshera. The sukkah is kasher. Hachaitet begadish lasses l'sukkah, ain't a sukkah. If one decides to hollow out his pile of bundles, his haystack, so he pulls out from within, leaving the top layer intact, untouched, ain't a sukkah, because it's not a man-made schach. It's tasa v'lei mina asur. So the Mishnah tells us that if it's 50-50, 50% schach kosher, 50% schach pasel, you're okay. Leima to have it yufta. To Rav Huna, Breder Rishua, perhaps going to be a kasha on this shita. The Itmar, as we learned in Maseches Eruvin, regarding Hilchos Mechitza. Paretz Goimet. What if the piritza amount of your wall equals the standing portion? So if you have a wall which is mostly standing and partially breached, it's okay because roiv is standing. It's an effective mechitza. On the other hand, if it's mostly gapped, mostly breached, and only a small portion is oimed, mechitza is ineffective. What if it's half and half? Paretz, the breached part, is ka'oimed, equal to the standing part. Is mechitza still considered a mechitza or not? Rav Papa Amar Mutter, it's a proper mechitza. For Rav Huna, Bered Rishua Amar Asa, mechitza now is bottle. Rav Papa views the oimed as the most important part of the mechitza. He says, look, I'm standing. Unless you have more than I do, unless you're roiv, in which case you overwhelm me and you mevatel me, I still remain firmly in place. I stand my ground. And I still serve as a mechitza. Rav Huna holds, we look at the enclosed area, the space within the mechitza, which you aren't trying to enclose. Now, think about it. This makom was wide open. It was an unenclosed area until you came around your mechitza. So in order to transform that makom from an open, breached, unenclosed area into an enclosed area, you have to enclose most of it. In which case you say, okay, the roiv is closed. The area is now gadar, is enclosed, is partitioned and divided. Until you get to that point, you haven't really done anything. Therefore, says Rav Huna, Breder Yeshua, if it's 50-50, it's only 50% enclosed, 50% not. Paretz ka'imid. You don't have sufficient building material, sufficient mechitza to enclose the area. So until it's mostly enclosed, you don't have a right, don't have a power to consider that makom as a makom mukav, as an enclosed area. So this is a general machlokes regarding mechitzas. The Gemara assumes that the same concept would apply to sukkah. So how could the Mishnah say, if the schach on your sukkah is half good and half not, it's considered kosher? That works according to Rav Papa, not according to Rav Huna v'Yeshua. And the Rishonim ask, why according to Rav Papa would this be acceptable? We learn later in the Chav Beinu and Beis, at least according to Rashi's Pshat, that if you have your sukkah only 50% covered, so it's 50% covered with schach kasher, and the other half is wide open space. Sukkah is puzzle. So you see 50% is not sufficient. Why would it be different here? Half kasher, half puzzle would be good according to Rav Papa. What's the difference? Says the Rosh, there's a big difference. 50% SUKKAH kosher is okay. It's considered a shade provider. A meitzel, your sukkah is a shady area. As long as it's 50%, it's okay. Over there, we're speaking that the other half is uncovered, in which case the sun will come in and light up the whole sukkah. That's just the way it is. The rays spread out and disperse throughout the area. So if it's only 50% covered, the sun, which enters the other uncovered portion, will create a situation where it's mostly sunny in your sukkah. That's a problem. However, in our case, where it's not wide open, it's fully covered with SUKKAH. Problem is, half of it is not SUKKAH kosher. That's okay. Because half SUKKAH kosher is adequate. Paretz ko'emet is mutter. And you don't have any sun coming in to be mevatel that SUKKAH. Why? It's blocked out. The other half is fully covered. Therefore, says the Rush in this case, according to Rav Papa at least, it's okay. 50% is considered. It's considered adequate mechitza, adequate SUKKAH. But in any case, we have a kasha on Rav Huna Breder Rav Yeshua, who maintains that generally speaking, 50% is not enough. You need mostly SUKKAH kosher. Amalach Rav Huna Breder Rav Yeshua, he's going to respond and say, we're not speaking about half and half. There's more SUKKAH kosher and SUKKAH pasal in our Mishnah. My kemoisan. When the Mishnah says that the space between the SUKKAH pasal is equal to the SUKKAH pasal, b'nichnas v'yoytze. It means that there's enough space to allow for entering and taking out that SUKKAH, putting it in and out, which requires a little bit of a breathing space. So it's a little bit more the gap than actual SUKKAH pasal. So since it's 51% SUKKAH kosher, you fill up the entire space with SUKKAH kosher, and only 49% of SUKKAH pasal, so it's roiv kosher, it's okay. It doesn't more of Efshel Tzamtzim. What makes you think that was more kosher than pasal? Perhaps he did it exactly. The gap between the SUKKAH pasal was exactly the same amount as SUKKAH pasal. Amrav Ami b'madif. No, we're speaking that he purposely added more SUKKAH kosher than SUKKAH pasal. Let's go over to Rashi on top. V'Efshel Tzamtzim, because Sam Kedai, the Gemara figures at this point. The high the kamataretz b'nichas v'yaitze hachamataretz. The Gemara says that there's more space between because it's nichas v'yaitze. The Gemara meant we assume so. Kol kamoisa b'nichas v'yaitze u'stamu b'nichas v'yaitze. Dein derech l'tzamtzim l'chaven kamoisa mamish. Typically, we assume there's more space than the actual beam, which is possible. It's not the derech to be matzamtzim. Lo yipachas v'yaitze. We figure that he leaves enough room so he can put the SUKKAH in and out with ease. U'brachinam. On that, the Gemara asks, how do you know? Maybe typically that happens, but perhaps this time he was careful to do it exactly 50-50. He pays attention. So maybe this time he happened to be very meticulous. Exactly 50-50. So the space between the board, between the poles, between the rods were exactly equal to the rods themselves, in which case the SUKKAH kosher is only 50%. I'm not speaking that he was mitzamtzim, but madif. Revash ben time al rochav ashpudim. He purposely added more space, in which case there's more SUKKAH kosher and SUKKAH pasal. Continues the Gemara. Rava Amar afilu tema b'she'ein madif. You know what? He could be speaking even. He's not leaving more gap than SUKKAH pasal. It's exactly 50-50. So how do we address our question? Very simple. Im hayu nesunim shesi noisnan erev. Erev noisnan shesi. Let's go over to Rashi. Rava Amar afilu mitzamtzim. Even if the space and the SUKKAH pasal is exactly the same. Im hayu nesunim shvudim shesi. If the shvudim were placed in one direction, shesi, which means horizontal, so it's placed this way, let's say, noisnan lekanim shel SUKKAH erev. He's going to have to place the SUKKAH kosher in the other direction, right? Because we have SUKKAH pasal, a rod, and some space. Another rod, more space. Another rod, more space, and so on. And he's going to want to fill the gaps with SUKKAH kosher, right? How does he do that? He can't just hang SUKKAH kosher mid-air. He needs some support. Evidently, says Rava, he's going to place it in the opposite direction. So let's say the schach pasel is going east-west. Schach kasher is going to have to go north-south and lean itself, support itself on the schach pasel. Right? So inevitably, says Rav, you're going to have more schach kasher and schach pasel. Schach kasher has to cover the gap plus a bit on either side. So that it lies on the rods for support. So at the end of the day, you have more schach kasher and schach pasel. Says Rav, so even if the gaps between the rods are the same in volume as the rods themselves, but once he finishes, when he's finished his job, he's finished placing the schach kasher on those gaps, and the schach kasher has to be supported by the schach pasel on either side, inevitably the schach kasher will have to extend beyond the gap a bit on either side to allow it to lie on the schach pasel. At the end of the day, you have more schach kasher and schach pasel. The Al-Kachar says, Rashi, im einen noisin, Rashi, hakanim al shvudim, unless he supports the ikanim on the shvudim, the schach kasher on schach pasel, higher enough on the earth, it's going to end up on the floor. That's the case. In the final analysis, he's going to have more schach kasher and schach pasel on his sukkah and mevatel it. Ask the Mefarshim, what do you mean mevatel? Mevatel is when it's mixed up, unnoticeable. Here it's two separate entities. You have schach kasher sitting on schach pasel. Why would it be mevatel? Says the Karban Asano, Rashi doesn't mean bittul baroiv like your typical taroivis. He means that the schach pasel is being used as a support for the schach kasher, and that's what makes it batel, makes it insignificant. It's not there for its own sake. It's there to help out the schach kasher. That's what Rashi meant. If in the final tally of things you have more kasher than pasel on your sukkah, then the schach is considered schach kasher. That's the primary ingredient here in your schach arrangement. In which case, the schach pasel, which is the portion of schach pasel which is merely supporting the schach kasher, is not batel to the schach kasher. He's serving the roiv. Right? The schach kasher now takes over. He's the determining factor. And anything that's coming to help him is batel to him, is subordinate to him, is tafel to him, is not reckoned with. And that's what Pshat the Mishnah says the Gemara. Even according to the Shita, we need more than 50-50, you have more than 50-50. And therefore the schach is kasher. So in conclusion, we had a kasher in our Mishnah. We seem to say that 50-50 is okay. So according to Rav Papa, that's fine. According to the other Shita, how do we work it out? Two roots. Either he purposely placed more than kasher and pasel, because the spaces between the pasel were greater than the pasel themselves, or according to Rava, since they were placed in opposite directions, inevitably you have more kasher than pasel. So what were two examples of schach pasel? We have shvudim, metal rods, or baruchais hamita, the bedposts. Says the Gemara, it's a broken bed. Why can't it be used for schach? Lema Messiah, Rabbi Ami bar Tuviyumi. Perhaps it's a right to that shita. The Amar Rabbi Ami bar Tuviyumi. Sicha bevloi kelim psula. Even if he used worn out kelim, more later we'll speak about worn out garments, which are no longer suitable, it's still possible. Why? Let's go down to Rashi here. 7 lines from the bottom. Bevloi kelim. They'll come in mefarish matlonios, these patches, she'ein ban sholish al sholish, which are too small in size to be mekabel tumah, less than 3 by 3 etzbos. The afik of the hashtal mekabel tumah, even though currently they don't have tumah capacity, kivan the mikli asu, since they originated from a kli. God's were Rabbanon. Rabbanon said don't use it because you might actually use kelim. Aruchos nami, regarding our bed posts as well. So there are aruchos and ktsores. We have a bed which has a sort of a head post with 2 legs, and it has at the bottom, at the leg side, it has a post, a short post with 2 legs, and it has aruchos, these long posts on the side, which consists, these 4 posts consist of the make up the frame of your bed. So the aruchos, the long posts, nami hashtel mekabel tumah, they're no longer mekabel tumah, leichaz lemidi, they're broken kelim, elam meklikas. Rather, since they originated, they come from a kli. With the Rabbanon, we keep away from all these materials. So is that so? Our Mishnah, which disallows aruchos hamita for schach, Is it a right to that shita? It doesn't allow even worn out, broken begadim, because you might actually use the beged itself or the kli itself. Says Gemara, not necessarily. Perhaps here it's different, because here we're speaking about a chelik of that bed which has significance and is still mekabel tumah. So although it's only a part of a bed, but it has a prominent chelik of that bed, which makes it consider it like a chelik, like a bed itself. The Amar of Chanam Amar Rebbe, just as Rav Chanam Amar Rebbe tells us regarding a different concept. We're going to see that Bez Hashem tomorrow. Baruko Shtei Karayim. That we're speaking about the long post along the side of the bed, the long post, which has Shtei Karayim, 2 legs still attached, in which case it's still considered a bed and still mekabel tumah. Or Biktsaro Shtei Karayim, or the short post with 2 legs attached. Hachanam here is on the Mishnah. Perhaps that's what we're speaking about. Baruch Shtei Karayim, the long post with 2 legs attached. Biktsara Shtei Karayim, or the short post with 2 legs intact. In which case, it's less significance, and it isn't enough of a bed to be mekabel tumah as is. Okay, let's briefly recap today's daf. Can one use his roof, his house roof, for sukkah use? Rashi says we're speaking about a tikra which has no tit and can perhaps be easily reshuffled and remodified for sukkah use. Speaking about boards which are at least 4 tefach wide. So you have Rabbi Yehuda, who presents it as a machlokes between Sham and Basil, and Rameir says all agree that there's only one method, one solution. According to Rav's approach, the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rameir is whether there's Gzeres Tikra. Rabbi Yehuda says, I follow Basil, there's no Gzeres Tikra. And therefore the only concern is Tasav Lebin Asi. Just give it a shake or replace every other one. According to Rabbi Meir, aside from Tasav Lebin Asi, there's Gzeres Tikra. The only solution is replace every other one and redo that roof in a way that doesn't appear like a house roof. According to Shmuel, typically you can initiate your sukkah with wide boards. According to all shittas, Gzeres Tikra. Here he's being mavad le pre-existing roof, which perhaps has more leniency. And indeed, according to Rabbi Yehuda, Beis Hillel maintain, don't worry about Gzeres Tikra in this case, because this fellow is mindful of the halacha of Tasav Lebin Asi. He knows he's not meant to sit in his house. Look, he's breaking apart his roof for that purpose. And therefore, the only thing you have to do is either a shake or replace the other one. According to Rabbi Meir, Gzeres Tikra applies in this case as well. And therefore, the only solution is replacing every other one. The Mishnah tells us half and half. Schach kosher, schach pasel is acceptable. According to our Papa, that works. According to Rav Huna Rishua, apparently we're speaking where he added more schach kosher over the schach pasel. We had a shita that beloi kelim are unsuitable for schach. And regarding our aruchai samita, the Gemara says, well, perhaps we're speaking that it has a significant portion of its bed intact. It has a post with 2 legs, in which case it certainly is considered a kli. It cannot be used for schach. Kol tov to you and atzlacha Rabbah.